Hello, my name is Stephen Franks, and this is my Humanities final project. For my project, I chose option 2, which was to create a self-portrait that represents you and your core beliefs. For my self-portrait, I chose drawing as my medium. Now, in my drawing, for an overview, I have a man sitting at a table. This man is an expressionless man. There is a mask here. There is 4 chairs, empty chairs. This one in particular is pulled out. There is a table that he's sitting at with 3 symbols on it. These 3 symbols are a Bible, which represents spirituality, a scale, which represents loyalty and justice, and a crest, which represents family and loyalty. Now, here is a muscular arm. Now, this represents masculinity. This is a camera, which represents fame. This is a dollar bill, which represents currency. And this is a house, which represents property. These 4 symbols, you may notice, are not on the table. They are on the ground. Now, to start off, I will explain why my man is motionless. Now, for me, in this society, I've been raised in an older fashion, or older way of thinking, which is that a man should not show his true emotions, and that he should be relatively emotionless through life. And that he should stay calm, cool, and collected, and be able to make hard decisions. And I don't think that this is a bad thing necessarily, but I also know that as I grow older, I realize that personally, I want to be able to show my emotions and show who I really am to more people. Now, I decided to draw a mask because this mask represents the emotions that a man shows to people surrounding him through his everyday life. Now, I personally chose a smiling face because I try to live my life in positivity and I try to see the best in people and in situations. Now, this mask is off because this man, or me, is sitting alone. Now, I chose to draw 4 chairs because me personally, I live my life with a small group of people. I don't like to open up to a lot of people. I like to keep my friend group small and my close friends very close. That's just how I've always lived, and that's how I've been taught, because that's what my parents have shown me or demonstrated to me. This chair in particular is pulled out because a special someone is very important to me, and it always has been. I have not found that person yet, as why the chair is empty, but it is something that I hope for in the future. Next, I will explain these 3 symbols in the middle of the table. I put these symbols on the table because they are highly important to me, and through my life, I want to live the best I can through these symbols. This first symbol, and the closest to the man, is spirituality. I did this because I believe that as a man, you should be spiritual and you should have a connection with God. That is my personal preference, but I believe that it's very important to becoming a good, strong person, and I believe it's something that everyone should focus on. I've been raised with religion my whole life, and it's something that I came to choose. It was not pushed upon me, but it's become very much a large part of who I am, and I think that it will always be who I am. It's something I want to grow in as much as possible throughout my lifetime. The next symbol, which is slightly farther away but still relatively close to the man, is a scale. I chose a scale because, in my personal opinion, honesty is very important in this world. There is less and less every day, and I think without honesty, a person wouldn't be able to grow and he wouldn't be able to build connections. For an example, when I play football or when I play other sports, I push myself as much as possible, and I point out my weaknesses to me and to my coach, and I try to find out the best way that I can make these weaknesses strengths. Without that honesty and without being able to admit to myself that I have weaknesses and that this is what they are, I wouldn't be getting better. I would be staying the same or even getting worse. So I believe that it's extremely important. And this honesty is also important in relationships, because if you can't be honest with a person, then how can you expect them to be honest with you? And how can you build trust? And your relationship with God. How can you expect to grow as a person if you can't openly admit your mistakes and learn from them? Now, I also chose this symbol because it also represents justice. And in my personal opinion, I'm a very just person, and I believe that everyone deserves justice and the truth. My next symbol, the farthest away but still on the table, is a crest. Now, a crest has historically always represented a family and loyalty. I personally believe that loyalty is very important, especially in these times when it's hard to find good people for friends. Now, if you can't be loyal, then how can you expect someone to be loyal to you, and how can you trust that person with secrets or with your feelings? So I believe that it's always important to be loyal. On top of that, I think it shows very strong character when you're a loyal person, especially to your friends. Now, I also chose this symbol because it represents family. And in my life, family has always been extremely important to me. I've been raised around 6 siblings, and each of these siblings has kids. So my family is very big, and I've always been raised amongst them. They've been my best friends. They've been the people that have taught me just about everything I know in my life. And I don't know what I would ever do without them. And I want my kids to be raised within that same family atmosphere because it's very important to me. I've grown up my whole life just shoulder to shoulder with my family, and I want that to be in my kids' lives as well. Also with family, it's somebody that you can always trust and you can always go to, and that you can always ask for help from without judgment. And I think it's very important because if you learn that from your family, you can apply that to other relationships in your life and build extremely strong relationships. Next, I want to talk about the 4 symbols on the ground. Now, each of these symbols represents something in the world that people expect me to want to chase after or to want. But I wanted to put them in here to show that those aren't always the most important things. So the first one is masculinity. I chose to put masculinity in here because being a football player and being raised in an older way of thinking, it's always been something that's extremely important. I've been taught it's extremely important. But like I said, as I get older, I start to realize that it's not so important and that we shouldn't be looking at it in the way that we do. We should be looking at men as people who can show emotions and who have emotions, and not someone that's very stoic and that should be extremely tough and never be hurt, because that's false, and I think it teaches a lot of bad habits to people. I also put this on here because I am somebody that lifts a lot and that does a lot of things outside, and so that also conveys to people that I'm extremely masculine and that it makes people not want to approach me, and I don't want that to ever be a thing, and I've been working to break that appearance. The next symbol is a camera, because fame these days is extremely important, and people will do just about anything to be famous. And to me, that is not something that I ever want to chase after. I never want to be worried about how many people know my name, or how much money is to my name, or how many people are talking about me, because if I focus on that, then I'm missing so many things in my life. And important things like helping people and all of these different things. Now, especially with the times that are now with TikTok fame and all that stuff, people are going absolutely crazy about this. But I think that people need to focus on what's really important in life and try to become the best person that they can become. Now, this symbol is currency or money, and I personally have always been taught that you should never chase money. If money comes to you through doing work that you love, then of course there's nothing wrong with that. And making money, there's nothing wrong with that. But it should never be your main focus in life, because when you start focusing on money, you stop focusing on people and the people around you. And if you do that, you're not building connections and you're not helping people. And now you can help people with money, but the more money someone gets, it tends to turn them too greedy. And that's not the way that I want to live my life. I always want to be looking at how I can help people. Now, my final symbol here is a house. I chose a house because property in this world is very important to a lot of people. The more property you have, the more there is to your name. And I don't think that that's the right way about looking at life. I think that we should be looking at nature for what it is. We should not be looking at how much we can own. I also believe that chasing property leads to a lot of people's downfalls, and I don't want to ever be a part of that. If I do end up with a lot of property, I want to be able to help people with that. I don't want to look at it as, oh, I have this much, I need to just get a little bit more and a little bit more. I don't think that's something that I ever want to be in my lifetime. I always want to be able to help people and be looking out rather than in. Now, along with this property, I never want to push people away or tell them that they can't use my property, because I've experienced that in my lifetime, and I don't think that that's a good thing. I think, like I said, we should be looking at nature for what it is, and be looking around us and look at the beauty of God's creation rather than how much we can make or how much we can build up our empire or however you want to name it. I just don't believe that that's the way that I want to live my life. Well, this is my drawing. I'll give you a closer look at it. As you can see, this man is expressionless, and this does say Holy Bible on it. Thank you for watching.